Whoa. Whoa. So, today was crazy. Today came out of nowhere. I have some crazy big news to talk about that I am so beyond excited. Oh my freaking gosh. Obviously, it is no secret what I'm talking about. It is no secret, of course, because of the title of the video, and also, if you know me, you already expected me to just go gaga over what happened today. We finally had the actual official confirmation that a new No More Heroes game is officially being developed, releasing next year, and it's coming exclusively to the Nintendo Switch. Now, of course, it should be noted that even if it wasn't coming exclusively to the Switch, I would still be freaking out, just like I am now. I promise you guys. It definitely doesn't have just to do with that. However, as a Nintendo fan, and as a Switch fan, and as a fan of the previous two games, which were exclusive to Nintendo consoles, at least for a while, I can't pretend like it doesn't actually feel pretty darn good to see this game coming out exclusively for the Switch. Which, by the way, I have to say, I'm a day late, but I was able to come home today and finally have my copy of Mario + Rabbids finally delivered to me, waiting for me on my doorstep, which is really super exciting. So I'm definitely stoked to get to this sometime soon. I just figured I would throw that out there because this is just a weird game that exists, but apparently is so very good, so I am excited to try this later today once I'm done blabbing about my insane fanboy hype for No More Heroes 3. So I have to really quickly have a little bit of a personal moment with you guys before I get into the details that we know and my overall feelings about this crazy announcement and this crazy thing. It's weird to me that I've had so many personal moments for myself this year that are like dream projects, specifically for Rob, specifically things I've always wanted and that you've heard me talk about ever since starting Rule of Two Review that I would hope to see, and that they have all come true this year. 2017 has been the year of Rob. I swear, I'm not paying anyone in the industry, I don't have any special contacts, but it's like the video game gods are looking down on me specifically, and they're like, that guy, that's the one, let's make all his dreams come true. We had Metroid Prime 4, a sequel to my all-time favorite game, and a game that I never thought we would ever see, officially revealed and announced. We had a second Metroid game that's a 2D side-scroller announced. Oh my freaking god, that's coming out in like 2.5 freaking weeks. Then we had Beyond Good and Evil 2, which is probably the craziest of all of these things, because that has had the longest development cycle and the longest period of rumors and even a trailer in 2008, and then it went dark forever. So we got Beyond Good and Evil 2, and then we have a third No More Heroes game today. I'm just like freaking out over the fact that I keep getting these amazing monumental announcements that for me, just within my own personal life and my own personal fanship, is everything I could have asked for. Like, it's so weird, like it's great, but it's also kind of weird, so I don't know. I guess I really just feel super lucky, and I just had to bring that up. Okay, let's get to the goods. Let's talk about this brand new No More Heroes game. It's really crazy. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to unpack, and so I just want to jump right to it. So, brand new No More Heroes game was announced today. Nintendo had a Nindies Direct showcase or whatever where they're showing a bunch of cool upcoming indie titles. That's really great. Apparently the whole thing was really impressive and people really liked what they saw in the games, and that's cool. As far as I'm concerned, even if some of those games are great that I might even play, it's all just white noise compared to the announcement of No More Heroes. To me, that is the thing that matters to me. That is the big deal and the big announcement from today, and something that I think kind of rocked a lot of people, because earlier this year, we can't forget that, of course, there were two hints from Suda51 himself about No More Heroes 3, and about the fact that it would obviously be coming to and/or exclusive to the Switch. He was present on stage at the January event with Travis Touchdown behind him, talking about Travis. A couple of months ago, I even made a video discussing this. He basically said in an interview in a very short little clip that, yeah, I mean, you know, No More Heroes probably doesn't make sense to announce at E3. It's probably something we'll announce later. Like, he said basically that. Again, I discussed it in a video, which was like him confirming it, but also not confirming it, and I didn't know when we were going to see whatever it is he was talking about. And then today was the day that we officially had No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again. That is the full name of the title. To be fair, the number 3 is not included in the title, which for myself as a fan of these first two games, is like kind of sad to me, but it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's a new No More Heroes game. I'm sure it's supposed to be considered the third game, and that's just insanely exciting. Now, there's a couple of weird details that I have to get into in a couple of minutes, but first I need to discuss one thing. I think that this game is going to be pretty big for the Nintendo Switch. I think this is the exact kind of thing that a lot of people who have the Switch or would otherwise be interested in the Switch want to see. This is an exclusive, mature title, and it's an exclusive, mature franchise. I mean, this is literally the third entry, kind of the fourth if you consider the Heroes Paradise remake that of the first game that showed up on the PS3 in like 2000, I don't know, 12 or 13 or something. I don't even remember now when that came out. But it's ultimately part 3. And to have a game like that releasing and announced for the Switch so early on within this first year, coming off of a great start with a couple of amazing titles still to look forward to. I mean, even announced the day after Mario plus Rabbids, you know, it's a pretty big deal. And I think that there's a very strong cult following for No More Heroes and Travis Touchdown specifically. He is one of my all-time favorite video game characters, you guys. I'm the one who's been clamoring for Travis Touchdown to show up in Smash Brothers forever. I thought that he would be a perfect character. When they did the voting thing, I even voted for him a couple times, and I was trying to get people like, hey, Travis is the man, and he's exclusive to Nintendo, kind of, so let's just do this. I mean, seriously, and with such a strong following, and the fact that it's showing up on a brand new Nintendo console, I expect this to be very well supported by the Switch audience, and I think that that is going to be a very good thing. It's going to send a very strong message, and I mean, a strong message to the industry, to third-party developers, to other Switch gamers, to Suda51 and Grasshopper Manufacturer, and those who make games like what No More Heroes is. I think a lot of people, if I'm correct in assuming that the game will be a very big hit, a lot of people are going to take some very positive things when it comes to certain kind of games, third-party releases, and the Nintendo Switch all kind of coming together to just make good things happen. Okay, so what do we actually know about this game? Not a whole lot yet. We haven't seen any official gameplay, but we know a couple of things that are actually really important to take note of. Some good, some weird, which is what I was hinting at a minute ago, and I will get into that. But ultimately, again, the game is Travis Strikes Back. And there was just a trailer shown with somebody who was very obviously created in a No More Heroes-esque engine, wearing a mask, pulls up on a bike, is talking about wanting to just kick someone's ass, and then of course he busts into this house, and it turns out that Travis is in there playing what has been revealed to be Hotline Miami, which is interesting and kind of cool, I guess, a little indie game. And then of course they go at it. There's typical No More Heroes Travis Touchdown banter back and forth. You know, they're pushing their swords against each other. Travis ignites his freaking beam katana. Oh my god, a brand new beam katana. Like, I can't even believe that this is happening. And then they get sucked into the game, some weird phantom console that's like attached to the TV. And then it's like, No More Heroes, Travis Strikes Again, and all these different things. So, great. That's perfect. It's a shorter version that's very reminiscent of the very first reveal trailer for the first No More Heroes, which probably went live in like 2006 or maybe early 2007 before the first game came out, which was, by the way, 2007, 10 years ago. And it was totally cool for what it was, man. I mean, I kind of wish that I saw it happen live. I was working, so I actually already knew. I pulled up the trailer specifically, which is kind of less cool because I'm not going to be surprised by the reveal that it's Travis Touchdown and No More Heroes. But still, it was a great No More Heroes appropriate kind of trailer, and it was really cool. It's like, oh my god, that's all I need, man. Like, I know Suda, I know No More Heroes, I know Travis, I feel like I know what to expect. And there's a couple of other details. It's not really gameplay details, it's more like setup and framing of the game kind of details. Apparently, this is really interesting, and I'm still trying to figure out how I feel about this, but I'm researched enough and kind of learned that it's probably going to all be totally fine. But ultimately, I know you guys probably know this, apparently what's happening is these two characters, Travis Touchdown and this other guy, who apparently is the father of Batgirl, who is a character who showed up in the original No More Heroes. And these two characters get sucked into the video game, and he's playing a video game console on a TV, and there's 6 indie game-inspired worlds and/or levels that apparently you play through and fight a boss at the end, and to try to escape from the game or escape from the console and that whole thing. And that's kind of all we know. Oh, and I'm sorry, each one of the indie-inspired levels are apparently apparently Suda and Grasshopper Manufacturer teamed with these different developers of these games to make this work with the worlds within No More Heroes 3. So it's like this weird Inception kind of meta sort of thing happening where it's like a game within a game, or 6 games within one game within another game kind of thing. So that's the setup. That's, again, how the game is being framed as of right now. And it's interesting. So here's my thing. When I first heard that, after I got over my excitement and my freak out moment, and then I started, you know, looking at a couple of the other details, I heard that and I was like, the way it's described, 6 levels that you fight through to escape the game, it sounded different than I was expecting. It wasn't necessarily what I wanted, and I started to realize, wow, okay, this could go one of 2 ways. This could be something where it's exactly like what the first 2 games were, where it's just this crazy, wacky Suda51 kind of idea that still plays out like a full-fledged, complete, large-scale experience that would be something akin to No More Heroes or No More Heroes 2, just using that unique idea. And both of these games had similar but also different ideas as well, and still came out as full, complete packages that are amazing, excellent games. The first game is better than No More Heroes 2, but still, they're both so fantastic. Or, and this is where I had a couple of moments of trepidation. If you follow me on Twitter, you saw some of my tweets, and, you know, I had some very, very good, healthy conversations with some people about the whole thing. It could be something less like that, and something I maybe wouldn't like. And it kind of also sounds a little bit like it might be a smaller, bite-sized, something like an indie digital-only release that could be maybe something like 6 little mini-game levels that releases as like a $20 digital-only download of a No More Heroes experience, and it's literally just 6 little indie-related mini-games that happen to feature Travis Touchdown in like a No More Heroes Santa Destroy kind of setting. And when I started to think about it that way, I was like, oh, no, please, please, don't tell me you've made us wait so long, whatever, 6 or so years, 7, I think, years since No More Heroes 2. Please don't tell me you had us wait this long to play that kind of game, a brand new Travis Touchdown No More Heroes game. I know some people would be fine with that. Some people love their indies, and maybe people who love indies who don't really know much about No More Heroes wouldn't really care, and that might be more interesting for them to get into that kind of experience. And for those people, that would be fine. I mean, I support anyone who plays indies as much as you do. You know me, I'm not really a big indie guy. I'm not anti-indie. I just don't avidly go out of my way to play them. Very few of them look so interesting to me that I feel like I have to pick them up. And I certainly don't want the indie experiences mixed with one of my favorite game series and my favorite characters. And so I realized that description, like I said, it could sound like exactly what I wanted. Suda51 could do the exact thing with that idea that we should have in a new No More Heroes game. Or it could be that thing that I really don't want, and I think a lot of other No More Heroes fans really wouldn't want. I gotta tell you guys, it's a terrifying prospect when I started to think about it that way, because I didn't want to be disappointed or upset or unhappy with something that should be like one of the greatest announcements like in my lifetime, basically, at least within the last like 10 years. You know, and we already have Beyond Good and Evil 2, for example, which I'm crazy excited for, but they're also doing so many things differently than a lot of us have been waiting for that there was a little bit of nerves and trepidation with that, and I'm still waiting to see how that plays out, even though I remain overall excited. And I didn't want something similar or even worse to happen to No More Heroes 3. I was like, no, you have to make this perfect. But a couple of great things happened since then and before me recording the video that has really made me feel at ease. The first thing that I took note of was when I was going back over the details while I was working and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it, and I was like, well, wait a minute. One of the things that they confirmed about this game today is that the game is using Unreal Engine 4. And Travis is even wearing an Unreal shirt, and I think that there's a joke. I read somewhere recapping the dialogue that there's a joke about Unreal Engine or something that they say to each other. And so I was like, okay, well, hold up. If you're using Unreal Engine, more than likely, it's not 100% lock, but more than likely, it's because you need a certain gameplay style that demands the engine that Unreal Engine would create. Not necessarily the graphics. I'm not talking about this. I'm not being a graphics whore guy. I'm talking about gameplay mechanics that typically the engine that Unreal Engine 4 would usually run would require. And so that was like a huge sigh of relief. It's like, oh my god, okay, we're not doing weird like little tiny mini game motion control things that are dumb. as the core mechanic of the game, because Unreal Engine is probably creating some sort of 3D environment that would hopefully require something like fast-paced beam katana sword-like action, which is what these games play like mechanically, even though there's many elements that makes No More Heroes great. One of them is the goofy, crazy, action-oriented beam katana combat. And so that made me feel good. I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Unreal Engine 4, they wouldn't use that for something that's like a little like mini game collection. I just don't think they would use Unreal Engine 4 for a mini game collection. And then another great thing happened, and again, I got in a fantastic conversation, a very long Twitter thread happening on one of my tweets I posted, and I have to give a shout out to a certain Twitter user who brought this up. So shout out to Twitter user Milo Comet at Milo Hammer. Bro, thank you for the research you did and the picture that you sent, because it really did a lot to make me feel good. So he found on the Nintendo.com What's New page the listing for Travis Strikes Again, and there's sort of a little blurb describing it, and you can see it here, and it really makes me feel good about it. 7 years have passed since the events of No More Heroes, and the Bad is determined to exact his revenge on Travis Touchdown. Just like the original cult classic, players will have to battle through multiple punk rock levels and defeat over-the-top bosses. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes launches exclusively for Nintendo Switch in 2018. More details about the yada yada yada. So, as Milo Comet very, very astutely points out, the key phrase there is just like the original cult classic, blah, 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 blah. So, all of those things. That was huge. So, Milo, my buddy, my main man, you did a very great thing pointing that out to me, and I thank you, because I think that is a very important thing to take note of. That phrasing, it's still something that, for all you know, they're not applying it the way we might be reading into it, but I feel pretty good saying that it probably does mean that the game is still ultimately meant to play very similarly to the original No More Heroes games, and that is the best news. Oh my goodness, it feels so good to have seen that, and it's like, okay, I still need to ultimately see what the gameplay is going to be like and have the ultimate confirmation about this gameplay's game style, but I feel like, you know, the original game was really just open world sandbox. You go to a bunch of areas, you kill the 10 assassins to become the #1 assassin, and it's like open worldy Grand Theft Auto type for that first game. The second one did feature Santa destroying a big map, but you were really more selecting missions and going through large, huge missions to do a bunch of things and still fight crazy bosses in succession. And I feel like all we're looking at is this third game is using a similar structure where instead what you're doing is you're in a video game, and instead of just selecting missions on the Santa Destroy map, you're going to be selecting your levels of different games within this weird game console, and that's going to be this whole big, each level will be its own big world, hopefully with a bunch of other missions and typical smaller mini games built within these different levels that let you be Travis Touchdown and level up and fight in like third-person beam katana sword slashing combat action, and each one has its own boss. So there was a different framing element of how you would get from one crazy boss to the next to the next to the next in each game, and I think this is going to be this game's version. So that's it, man. I mean, it really comes down to one simple thing. I don't want this to be a $20 downloadable digital title. I want this to be a full-fledged $60 complete, massive, epic No More Heroes experience, preferably retail release, obviously, and it probably will be. That's what I want, you know, and I know some people may balk at the idea, like, why would you want to pay more money than less money? And it's like, I get it when you look at the dollars, but it's not that I want to pay more money, it's that I want what the larger dollar value represents. That's what I want. I want a real game. I don't want a digital $20 indie bite-sized minigame experience. That is not interesting to me, especially in a No More Heroes game. In a different game created from the ground up, that's just a brand new game that might be really great that does that, it's a different story. But this is a No More Hero game, so I'm really hoping that this whole description about the 6 indie-inspired levels isn't what my worst fear is. And I will remind you guys at the end of this video that I don't think that that's what it's going to be. And so, in conclusion, because I don't feel that the worst case scenario is what we're going to get, I'm ecstatic. I'm into it, man. I am so hyped and so pumped to have another No More Heroes and Travis Touchdown game. I mean, you can see I'm a big Suda fan. I even have Killer 7 underrated GameCube gem right here. I've had every single Suda game, sadly, because I traded in my PS3 and 360, you know, years ago to get the newer consoles most of my games went with, and I didn't even hold on for collector's sake to those games, but every game he's ever made, in my opinion, is great. Lollipop Chainsaw, Killer is Dead, Shadows of the Damned is, I think, the greatest of this not 3. I mean, really, Shadows of the Damned was a special, special game. I mean, everything he's done is great. I've loved it all. So, I mean, at this point, Travis is back, baby. He is back, just like Suda promised back in January. I cannot freaking believe it, but it feels so good, man. I mean, what can we expect? Who knows? I might wait another couple days or a week and actually do a theory video. Maybe we even get some more details. But trust me, I'm going to be thinking about No More Heroes and Travis. I'm going to be diving back into the lore and thinking about these games and what we can hopefully expect from No More Heroes 3. I'm going to keep calling it No More Heroes 3 for now because it just feels good to say it. Even though I know it's not technically called 3, it just feels good for me to say that. So I think that's it. I'm going to wrap this up, get this thing edited, and actually start playing Mario plus Rabbids, I think, for the night. At least get kind of right into that. And we'll call it good for there, guys. Another Travis Touchdown No More Heroes game. God, it feels so good. What a crazy world we live in. What do you guys think? Are you excited like I am? What do you think about the details I discussed, talking about how the game may play out based on the little bit of information they gave us? What do you expect? What do you want? Talk about No More Heroes below because it's the greatest franchise. And that's it. So thanks as always for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Rule of 2 Review, and I will catch you next time on another video.